Hi, thanks for coming today. I'm going to be talking to you about being deliberate at work and how this makes life better for you. No one is responsible for your career besides you. You may as well do it well. So firstly, thanks to all the DDD Adelaide sponsors. They're a big reason this is as successful as it is. And also shout out to the organisers, volunteers, Isaac and everyone else. They spend a lot of time, they've devoted their time and their Saturday here, making sure this day runs smoothly. So, hi, yes, this is me. I am Rob. I graduated about 10 years ago. I tried being an academic. I started my honours, didn't like it, and now I've been working professionally for about 10 years. All of my advice today is through this specific lens. I hope it's helpful, but your mileage may vary. And these are my 3 cats. I like them a lot. You must now also appreciate them. So, let's get into it. Everything has a purpose. Being more clear about what that is helps achieve better outcomes. Politics is not a bad thing. It's just nodes in a graph with people, exactly what you're always used to dealing with in your code. And finally, your brain should know about how your brain works, what makes it happy and what makes it not happy. And then finally, how you can turn that all into more money for you. So, why do we all go to work? Money and fulfillment. My self-worth as a human is directly tied to how productive I am at work and how much money I make. Guaranteed results for you in the next 30 minutes. So, you go to work, what affects your salary? Surely a linear relationship between how much you earn and how much money you make your boss. Lies. These are some of the things that affect how much money you earn. Do you know the owner? How attractive are you? No, going away. There's lots and lots of different factors. Today, we're going to cover this one. So, part 1. Everything has a goal. You should know what that is. If you're unfortunate enough to be important and end up in a lot of meetings, rituals, you'll be part of quite a few of these. What are they for? Usually they exist because an organisation is trying to solve a problem or prevent other problems. Are they solving the problem? Do you understand why they are solving the problem? Are they trying to achieve an outcome? What is the outcome? Can you articulate the purpose of each of these? Similar to Jeff saying, what is an agent? You should know why you are a part of these things. And then, the next step after that is, can you make them better? So, in order to be more effective, you have to understand why. Anyone can blindly repeat what has happened before, follow the steps, follow the steps. Understanding why is the key to being effective. You notice a trend throughout this presentation, it's a lot of why, a lot of why. So, you normally do these things with people, just like rituals. The people also have goals. Maybe that's climbing the ladder, they crave power, world domination. Maybe they're a dragon, they want to hoard big piles of gold. Maybe they've achieved enlightenment, they have like hobbies, other interests. What are your current goals right now? People also have personalities. You might swear up and down that you've met a bunch of people who do not have a personality. Most people do. What is your personality? Are you risk averse? Are you too agreeable? Remember these 5 attributes here? They make up most of what you are. These will come in a bit handy later. Right, meetings should also have goals. Look at all these happy people. They're all agreeable, they're having a productive meeting. They all have a secret agenda. Meetings normally have explicit goals, talk about something, decide something. People, however, have implicit goals. This guy here on the left, he wants all the decisions to sway towards his group. He craves control. That guy in the back, he's pretty laid back, he just wants to be heard, wants to go along for the ride. This lady over here on the right, she wants to make sure the guy on the left doesn't get what he wants. She just doesn't like him very much. And this lady in the front here in the red, she's the CEO. She's using this meeting as an opportunity to work out who's playing nice, who's ready for the next step in the management of her organisation, who's performing well, who's pushing back, who can't play well with others. Sounds petty, but it is. People are petty. So, for explicit meeting goals, Start creating them. These are the ones that should be written down. They usually have 4 purposes. 1, decide something. 2, brainstorm something. 3, review something. Or 4, meet some people. That's roughly how most meetings go. So we've arrived at the meeting with everyone else. We sit down. Before us, we see a field. So many possibilities. What parts of the world will we talk about today? Leaving this world too open for everyone is a recipe for tangents everywhere. So, what do we do about this? Abstract is hard for people. We make a box for them to play in. Before the meeting starts, take 5 minutes, write down what you want, maybe some hiccups, areas to avoid, some problems. It's a great way to focus thoughts and energy of other people while you're there. Do not give people a field to play in, unless that's the aim of the meeting, but then be explicit about it anyway. Abstract is hard. So, 1, meeting outcomes. Why are you all there? Without it, you will dive into, please note my heavy use of sarcasm here, very important details that you will circle on for ages, and they will not get you closer to what you're trying to do. And if you do find you've gotten off track, it's a really helpful shortcut to help people get back on track. Hey, what we're talking about now, is that helpful in getting an answer to here? With that kind of short circuit, people will normally take a moment, stop, realize, apologize, self-correct, and then you're back on track. Number 2, frame the level of the discussion. Be aware of what the meeting is about. Is this a vague, ambiguous, higher-level discussion? Is this a deep technical trade-off? Don't talk about the wrong stuff. Everyone will make fun of you. And finally, load some context in. To get everyone to the same starting point, a little introduction is always nice. If you're lucky enough to be involved in many meetings, maybe you come to this meeting immediately from a previous meeting or multiple other meetings. Having a little 30-second breather is a really great way to get everyone to the same place. Example, hey everyone, I'm here to discuss the location of my new house. This green field is off limits due to planning restrictions. We haven't invented flying houses, so the sky is out, which leaves us with somewhere in this brown field. That tree looks nice. And then away the meeting goes. You have restricted the scope to focus everyone to get to an outcome. So you should actually frame everything. Start with why. Providing a focus for yourself. Similar to the meeting idea, you can sit down and just type stuff and away you go, and you'll see where you end up, vibe coding style. Or you could be slightly more precise. Are you writing a document? Why does it exist? Who is the audience? What do you want them to take away at the end? What do you want them to know at the end? If you're doing some research, what is the end goal of your research? What are your restrictions? Are you time-gated? Write these first, before you do anything else. This will set you on a clearer path towards what you're trying to do, and you can notice for yourself if you're tangenting away from that. Now, this doesn't have to stop at technical documents. You can frame your whole career, right? What's next for you and your career? What are you trying out in the next 6 to 12 months? Is it AR stuff, like Jeff suggested? Why are you spending time on a certain thing? Where are you hoping to end up with it? Be considered in what you're trying to do, and then you can measure and adjust. Otherwise, you risk 1-2 years going by, and then you stop and you're like, what am I doing here? Right, politics bad. You're different. You've got your own goals nailed now, and you're pretty good at creating intention for yourself. Let's try and apply that a bit more broadly. Right, so you're above such petty squabbles as politics. You believe in a meritocracy. The best idea always wins. No, it doesn't. You're not different to anyone else. You are still a part of a system. You are not a lone wolf. Your work is for other people. You do work for people, directly or indirectly through someone else, but at the end of the day, you are a human doing something for another human. You're actually part of quite a few systems. This is one you'll probably be most familiar with, the coding system, where you spend most of your day typing on the keyboard. We've got an architectural diagram here on the left, and on the right, a little anecdote about why you shouldn't interrupt people while they're focusing really hard on things. But the main focus is the effort being put into thinking about state, interactions between systems, and then assumptions and validations about how that works. This is a coding system. You're very familiar with this kind of thing. It looks a lot like nodes on a graph, with edges connecting them. All right, remember those 5 personalities? These that make up a people. Some are 100% energy, go, 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 hashtag the grind. Some people are not like that. You're going to encounter a bunch of people over the years that you really don't like. Now, is that their fault? Undeniably, yes. You are a different person. You're a higher level being, you have good emotional regulation, you understand how this person came to be. Given any population over a big enough spread of personality traits, if you meet a lot of people, you will inevitably hit people at either ends of that spectrum more, the more people you interact with. Christmas Day, for example. Normally drivers are pretty good, but on Christmas Day, awful, dreadful, everywhere. It's not that people suddenly got worse at driving, it's just that you're encountering more people, and by virtue of a distribution curve, you are encountering more people at either ends. So, next time you encounter George, the jaded guy, or Christian, the overly neurotic type, go and talk to Christian about Rust, he loves it. Try not to get upset. Yes, 2 thumbs up. Do not get upset or angry. That will just make you sad. Just remember that you were unlucky enough to hit someone at one of those ends of the spectrum. So, extending this idea even further, you're probably a member of a team. Why do all these different teams exist? Sales, sell things that don't exist yet and make headaches for engineers. For engineers, to make things and mostly be left alone. And for design, to think about beautiful creations that engineers ruin with real-world requirements. What does this graph have in common with the previous ones? It is still nodes interacting in a graph with different state and different assumptions. It's all nodes interacting in a graph with different side effects based on input. When you're coding, you spend a heap of time thinking about initial state, control throwing through this function, and that causes the following interactions to occur. You're thinking about system architecture. You're thinking about how a node behaves in the broader picture. What happens when it fails? What do the other ones do? When you're thinking about teams and people, if you mention the Adelaide Crows, you know that guy is going on a 5-minute rant about it every time. If George the Jaded from before, he's not in your design review, he will fight your proposal tooth and nail for months. If another guy, deep technical lead in your organization, if he doesn't have buy-in, a big portion of your org is not going to come along with you. You have to know who's going to be helpful for what you're trying to do. This is the same problem, nodes in a graph and interactions. So what do you do about it? Start influencing? People have secret agendas and team agendas. Either you ignore that, or you start being a little bit more aware about it and influencing what's happening. Your new awareness of people and teams, when you take that 5 minutes to start before the meeting and write down what your goals are, have a think about who you're doing it with as well. How are they going to respond to different suggestions? How does this meeting fit into what their group is trying to do? Now, that's easier said than done. How do you do this? For me, I married someone with better emotional intelligence than me, and that worked out really well. You complain at them a lot, and then they eventually show you a better way. For most people, unfortunately, it is just practice, like everything else. You try it, you be bad at it, you try it again, you ask why, and then you get a little bit better at it. You can lean on your boss for this as well. What are they trying to accomplish? Why? What does the next 6 to 12 months look like for them? Now, this is all a lot of work, a lot of emotional, not logical, not what you got this job into for the first place work. You're right, but that's the actual job. Your job is not to write code. That is important. Your job is not to write code. And cliche as that sounds, your job is to deliver value. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be employed. Your actual job is to work with a bunch of other people, think a lot, muddy your way through a bunch of ambiguity, write a little bit of code, and then help some other people do something. So, this diagram here is a kind of traditional view of the different levels that you can typically kind of work your way through. If we start at the very beginning here as a new grad, you're typically assigned tasks within a feature with a very small, constrained scope. There's little ambiguity, fairly clear expectations. If you're a new grad, you are unable to influence yourself to do the task, you're not a very good new grad. Now, as you progress through the levels, you need to be able to influence more people in order to do your job. If you're a senior, your scope is a project or a product. And to do that, you need to be able to influence your team. Now, this is an expectation as well. You cannot perform your senior job function and manage the scope of a project without also being able to influence at the team level. If you can't, your team will go one way, you'll want to go another, they won't, and then your ability to actually do that level scoped work is massively diminished. This is not good for you. You have to be able to influence others to do your job well. Now, I'm not discounting the importance of trade-offs, speed to market, long-term viability, service stability, all those kinds of things. They're very relevant and very important to get correct. There are several talks today on just that. But in addition to that, you also need to consider the people you're doing things with and what they want as well. If you cannot manage the people or the teams, none of the technical work will get done in the right direction anyway. Now, just as a warning, be careful you are not trying to solve the wrong size problem. If you are a senior and you are trying to solve a principal level problem, it will not go well for you. You will be sad and stressed, and it will suck the whole time. Maybe you end up with an under-resourced team because you couldn't sell it internally enough. Maybe you end up with scaling problems because you had this massive success and now you have to grow and it's really hard to do. Maybe you end up with a service that is incomplete. It's not living up to expectations because you didn't realize the scale. Or maybe you ran into other organization problems that you didn't even know existed because your sphere of influence was too small. And now, because your sphere of influence is too small, you cannot easily fix those either. Very stressful. Now, I'll get back to that chart in a second. This is a slide I stole from the Game Developers Conference. There's a talk called Embracing Ambiguity, How to Do Good Work When You Don't Know What to Do. It's from a game producer. Obviously, it's about game development. There's a lot of really, really good core ideas in there that are really applicable to us as well in the software space. It's only 30, 40 minutes. I do suggest you watch it. Now, if you're a junior, it is expected that you can handle, answer questions, make decisions about the uncertainties or ambiguity in a specific task. If you're a senior, it's expected that you can reduce ambiguity for the team, make reasonable assumptions and guesses about creating or extending the product. Now, if we knew all the answers, the MBAs would have their dreams, no code would exist, fire all the software engineers, the world would be great. You are not really software engineers. That is not really your job. You are reducers of uncertainty. Your job is to take this ambiguous world filled with questions and unknowns, reduce it and simplify it so other people can do work, all while dealing with a lot of edge cases. So, speaking of influencing, the last, most wanky, most philosophical part, decide which one of those I am. This here should be your life goal. You should understand how your brain works. Now, this is a really great book. It's called Your Head is a Houseboat. The gist of it is that the only person who's going to live in your head your whole life is you. So you should probably make it a good place to live. So, with that in mind, let's unpack how the brain does. First of all, the secret brain. Now, you've been working on a problem for ages, you go for a walk, you wake up the next day, the solution comes to you while you're in the shower. That's your subconscious brain at work. Your brain keeps churning while you're doing other things. So, let's take advantage of this. You've got a conversation or a meeting in a few days, you try planting a seed. Talk briefly about a problem, maybe some of the issues, where we see some shortcomings, sticking points, and then don't do anything. Just wait. magically, after a few hours or days, you'll be better equipped to have a productive conversation about this topic. Your brain will have already done some work for you. Now that's the subconscious brain. How about the conscious brain? Making that one better. If you do want to improve your skills, first of all, go to the talk at the end of the day on consistently improving things. But if you want tangible advice from other people on how to get better, do not ask, how can I be better? Do not ask your boss this. Do not ask your colleagues this. Do not ask your friends this. If you do ask this, you will get a very generic, oh, you're doing great answer. Nothing comes to mind. This doesn't help you get better at all. People are nice. They don't want to hurt your feelings. You might be a real basket case, and they have a laundry list of improvements for you. They're not going to tell them to you. It is uncomfortable giving bad feedback to people. They're not sure how you're going to react, and so they're taking the easier option. Everything's fine. So, you do. Be specific. Invite people along for the ride with you. Frame it as you working on a problem. Hey, I know I have a tendency to miss stuff in code reviews. I'm trying to improve my skills here. Any specifics? Do I miss the big architectural stuff or the little micro stuff? You know, the thing parents do with toddlers. Perceived choice. Not, do you want to wear pants? It's, do you want to wear the red pants or the yellow pants? The illusion of choice. You have tricked them into giving you feedback. Now, and assuming you don't immediately stab them for being mean to you, you're more likely to get honest feedback later. They know you're looking for it. You don't react negatively when they do give it to you. You've created a safer space for them to be vulnerable. You'll be less likely to hurt your feelings. They know you're trying to improve. Now, this is most relevant for people really early in their career, but you should ask a lot of questions. Your knowledge trajectory, your experience trajectory is important, and it compounds, especially early. You start a new job and you get stuck 4 times a day. Great, you've acquired 4 new dot points of knowledge or experience that you didn't have before. If you get stuck 8 times a day, you've acquired 8 new dot points of knowledge or experience that you didn't have before. In a week, that is 20 versus 40 chances. In a month, that is 80 versus 160 chances. This effect compounds, especially very early career, when you just don't know a lot of stuff. Now, this will be give up, Slack message your boss after 2 minutes, help, 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 I'm stuck. There is value in working through a problem, practicing increasing state in your mind, working through how the interaction snakes its way through your code. Learning how to work through those roadblocks is important. Do not sacrifice your overall trajectory because of it. Now, what is your brain like? Not one of you woke up one day and thought, yes, I have decided I now like computery things. It did not happen. You didn't decide your parents. You can sue them if you want. You didn't decide the chemical interactions in your brain. You didn't decide the environment that you grew up in that churned out what's sitting in your skull. You don't get to pick what your brain is good at or what it likes. It is your job to discover this. So, high-level examples. Do you like the unknown world? Do you like set structure? Do you like deep dives in Rust? Do you like vibe coding with AI? It's up to you to work this out. Now, usually you end up in one of these 3 camps. You may have heard this as the explorer, the farmer, or the settler. The explorer loves the great unknown. Heaps of ambiguity, lots of freedom. Greenfields projects, they have a great time there. The settler turns that and makes it work, makes it productive. Tooling, stabilizing work. And the farmer makes sure it exists for the long term. Bug fixes, refactors, tech debt pay down. Now, none of these are better or worse than any other. Organizations need different amounts of these depending on what they need. So, if you have a team full of explorers, all the promising results in the world that no one can use, they'll all be unstable and on fire all the time. If you have a team only settlers and farmers, the most rock-solid platform ever, never does anything new. So, in addition to that, are you big picture? Or are you small details? Both are important. Both are needed. Both have pros and cons. Imagine a team full of small, details-oriented things. They talk for hours on the best way to format the formatting. Or a team full of big-picture people. They talk for hours on all the cool stuff you could do and the great things that we can do one day. Neither group would be particularly effective at getting somewhere. So I used to work with a guy who had the small details down. I did bump into him today. He was amazing at taking this little piece of information, snaking its way through architecture and identifying security problems. That was his jam. He was great at it. He was not so great at the big architectural discussions. A bit more fluidity. He'd ratchet back down to details again. We all have our specialities. What are yours? So, look, I'm not a great salesman. I probably never will be. In addition to knowing what you like, you also have to know what your brain doesn't like. So, we have 3 different type tasks before us. Red, you hate these with a passion. You can do them for like 4 days and then you quit. Yellow, they're okay, they're fine. You don't love them, but you can do them. And then the green ones, you love those. You can do those every day, 9 to 5, non-stop, you're the happiest person in the world. Which one of these is the worst for you? Funnily enough, it's not the red ones. If you end up at a job with the red ones, you will make some changes really quick. You will complain to your boss incessantly until you either fix it or you leave. Easy fix. Yellow ones, they sneak up on you. You don't enjoy it. It's not enough to quit over. Works fine, you say. You know, everything's kind of all right. Yeah, it's okay. That slowly degrades your workload until one day you wake up and you're like, I hate my job. And then it's too late. You cannot fix this relationship now. Now, you may have encountered many tales of developers diving into management and hating their lives afterwards. They went away from the thing that they liked to do. I'm also guilty of this. You need to do the green things, the things that make you happiest person on the planet. Now, time for a midlife crisis. Unless you're my wife, and she just tries hard enough, she can do all the things, you cannot do all the things. If you're like most of us, you've got a few years of work left, less if you've got rich parents, even less if you win the lottery. Look at this huge map. Some people spend their entire career in a very small portion of this map. This is AI here. That's tiny. Look at what it's doing to the world right now. Every bit of time you spend on something is some time that you are not spending on something else. This is unavoidable. You do not have a time turner. You're 2 hours scrolling on TikTok. That's 2 hours you could have spent on your startup. 2 hours you spent on your startup. That's 2 hours you could have spent hanging out with friends at the beach. None of these are the correct decision. It all comes down to what you value and what you want. No one else can help you with that besides you. Now, on how you work, farmer, settler, explorer, different organizations need different people. If you are an early stage startup, they cannot afford an engineer who only works well with clear defined boundaries, acceptance criteria, pixel perfect Figma design, and 6 months to make it happen. Their requirements are different. At the far end, in a megacorp, there is less flexibility there. Maybe they have ISO 27K compliance requirements. Maybe they have layers of process built up over years to eliminate problems and ensure consistency for their customers. With that, it's slower. They want more farmers. Now, the explorer might flounder in the megacorp place, potentially. They'll feel stifled. They'll run into walls all the time. They won't be able to do what they want to try and do. It wouldn't be a great time. This is not a problem with the person, and this is not a problem with the environment they're in. They're just not good for each other. So, what environment will you flourish in? And this might change with life over time. If you have 12 children, maybe that 100% equity, 0% salary startup is maybe not for you, despite the fact you are an explorer. It's up to you to balance what's important for you at the moment. And this might change over time. If you join a little 4-person startup and then they grow to 200, it may turn into something that used to need explorers and now needs funds. That is okay for you to move on if it doesn't fit you anymore. Now, you're impactful, you're influential now, you understand yourself deeply. Here's what we're here for. How do you turn it into money? So, salary conversations. Every 6 to 12 months, maybe in this economy, maybe not, but sometimes they happen. So, how do you get the most out of doing this? Right, first of all, keep a yearly brag document. This is the most important thing you will do. A list of work you've done, achievements, project you've worked on for that year. It'll be paramount through this whole process. And, shoot the messenger here, you need a reason for more money. You don't get something just because you want it, or you think you deserve it, or cost of living has gone up. We can argue all about how CEOs earn quadrillions and the socioeconomic reasons why productivity is up since the year 1230. That doesn't help you here and now. You still need a reason. So, if you rock up without a plan, you go to your salary meeting, hopefully that's yearly, they say a number, you say that number plus 10%, they say no, and then you continue on. That is the exact opposite of what we're trying to do here. It's just to be deliberate and precise in what you're trying to do. You have to start this earlier, 3-6 months before this happens. Otherwise, someone's poked someone else, some salary sheets have gone around the org, they've gone through HR, they've gone up to the top decision makers, they've hashed it out through a very opaque process that no one knows, and then numbers have come down and one has been decided for you. If you wait until the meeting time, it is too late. You have missed your opportunity. So, how could you do it? First one, keep a yearly brag document. It's so helpful for writing resumes as well, when you can look back over the years and be like, okay, here at this point, I could do these types of things, and now I've grown into bigger and bigger things. So, because you've been keeping a yearly brag document, you can now look at the previous year's one, and this one, and show tangible examples of growth for you. Maybe you've done bigger projects. Maybe you have more independence. You've taken on problems with increased ambiguity. It'd be so much easier for you to show real change 18 months ago versus now if you have examples of this. Your brains are great at problem solving. They are terrible at recall. Take advantage of this with a document. Now, framing why anyone cares about the things that you have done. What you did isn't as important. Why does it matter? If you made an API, cool. You made a cool new feature, wonderful. How does that help the organization? What can they do that they couldn't do before? Are there more users as a result of this? Is churn gone down? Relate it back to something that the business cares about. Money, time, or capability. Either you increase or decrease one of those three things. The code you write is not valuable unless it does one of those three things through the eyes of a business. Now, the fun part 4. Go and find your employer's competition. Make a spreadsheet, go to Seek, go to Career One, go to Indeed.com, find a bunch of jobs, list the skills and experience, the dollar range if it's there, anything else that's relevant, and then ask, or answer the question rather, could you do this job? Yes or no? Get about 5 to 10 of these. And then, 3 to 6 months before you know your salary negotiations coming up, go and have a conversation with your boss. You are now armed with a big document, thud, on the desk. Here's how much I've grown over the previous year. Here's what else is around in the market right now. And then this is how good I can be. This is how valuable I am to the company. Here's why the company cares about what I do here. It is such a stronger case. It is so hard to disagree with versus just rocking up and saying, I think I'm great, more money, please. And this doesn't even take that long. Maybe this takes a couple of hours. If you manage to eke out, let's say, $2,000 extra doing this versus not, that is $1,000 an hour improved, compounding theoretically for the rest of your career. That's an insane amount of return, and there's very few things you can do that have $1,000 an hour return on, besides working on them. And finally, be healthy. All the money in the world will not help you if your brain is sad and your body doesn't work. 1, get a split keyboard. They're great, they're cool. You will look more capable if you have one. 2, drink more water. You're probably not drinking enough water. It's great for you. And then 3, go do something active. It doesn't matter what it is. We are a highly sedentary world. You need to look after yourself and your body. You only have one. Right. This is a conference, so you get sold to. I'm not a salesman. I told you this already. This is my obligatory plug. I think project management sucks a bit. Changing it is hard and updating it is hard. I think it's very similar to code. You hate making changes to prod if prod is the only environment you had. It's very precious. You rarely touch it. People do similar things with their project schedule. If you like project management and love it as much as I am, come over and chat to me. Otherwise, don't. Now, thank you for taking precious seconds out of your life to come and listen to me. I'm sure it was all 100% helpful and novel. Here is a feedback form. You can leave feedback to any of the speakers today. Please write nice things about me. And if this helps any of you, you owe me 10% of your salary. Thank you very much.